Good evening. The time is 7 o'clock and the legislative meeting is called to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. Ms. Evans, can you please call the roll?
Present. Mr. Henderson.
Present.
Ms. Iannitti.
Present.
Mr. Kessler.
Present.
Dr. Levinowitz.
Present.
Mrs. Sherpier. Mr. Sirota. Mr. Wallach.
Present.
Dr. Davis.
Present.
All present. Thank you.
Thank you. Again, I want to welcome everyone to our legislative meeting. I'd like to remind everyone that this is really the business meeting for the board. Most of the items that we will vote on this evening have been discussed at the committee level and moved for a vote by the full board. So at this time, we are going to proceed with the agenda as written. First up, we have Ms. Sneh Ha, who is going to give our Student Government Association report because someone has the nerve to be in Florida in Disney, so Ms. Young is not here. So we really thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Davis. This month has been jam-packed with exciting accomplishments and events from our students. More than half of our Future Business Leaders of America Club members competed at states this year, and we came home with 15 first-place titles as well as 32 top 10 wins. 16 members will move on to the national competition, and we wish them the best of luck and great outcome. Speaking of great outcomes from active clubs, the Environmental Education Club, or the EEC, curated multiple engaging activities for the students during the Eco Week these past few days. Organizing raffles, educating students, and spreading awareness about the importance of our environment, the club members helped us take a step closer to a cleaner world. We appreciate all those who participated and involved. We also on the topic of our environment, our environmental project-based learning class and has some exciting news. Students in the class organized a hive drive at Maple Glen that included an Earth Day chalk drawing contest as well as a jump roping competition. We wait to see the outcome of their final project. Minithon is also speeding its way towards us, and the event is Friday night. The infatuating theme this year is space, and students can't wait to celebrate all their hard work, raising money and awareness for pediatric cancer. Also making its way towards us are AP exams. Beginning on May 2nd, if opted, students will continue to take exams throughout the month. We know the hard work of our students will pay off, and we stand with them in their studies. On the lines of excitement, the senior class trip is currently on their way to Disney. We wish them a great time and safe travels throughout the trip. The Student Government Association is also elated to reveal that the elections for the steering committee were held last Friday and the future leaders of SGA have been determined. For president, Samir Young has been elected, along with their vice president, Sneha Chaudhuri. As for underclassmen representative, Asher Kaplan has assumed the position. Our new school board representative is Ben Serafin, and our treasurer is Alex Devers, with the secretary Paige Foley. As for the committee heads, Ari Wiener is the spirit chair, Hannah O'Neill activities chair, Jane Hillman community service, and Grace Ozzuto information and communications head, Anthony Soriano policies and procedures, and Seth Boaz school improvements chair. We can't wait to see what they come up with next year. And just as April showers bring May flowers, we can't wait for all that's come this month. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We want to thank Ms. Young for, providing the report and finding someone to actually come and present it to us. We really thank you for taking the time to be here. Dr. Yanni, if you can please present your superintendent's report.
Thank you, Dr. Davis. Earlier today, Dr. Davis and I had the opportunity to travel to Harrisburg for the Pennsylvania School Board Association Day of Advocacy. Dr. Levinowitz was also there representing the district and PSBA in his role as immediate past president. The day really affords school leaders and board members the opportunity to talk to our elected leaders about any number of topics that we feel are important. We had the opportunity today to talk about the teacher shortage and the administrative shortage that we're starting to see and feel across the Commonwealth. We talked a little bit about charter school funding reform. We also talked about special education costs and how we can best support our students. So we had the opportunity today to meet with 3 of our legislators. Wendy Thomas, who doesn't represent us, but we were afforded the opportunity to meet with her. We also met with Ben Sanchez and Representative Todd Stevens. So it was a really productive day in Harrisburg. I'd like to congratulate 2 retirees this evening. John Doherty has been a driver in the transportation department for 12 years, and at the end of the year, he will begin his new journey as a retiree. And Dr. Rita Perez, our current Director of Student Services, who has been with us for 2 years, also will retire at the end of the year and enjoy retiree life. Everyone, when they retire, they say they no longer have to set alarm clocks. So many years from now, I think some of us around the table will be enjoying that as well. In just a few weeks, we have the Upper Dublin Medals ceremony. I think most everyone knows that every year a citizen, an educator, a business, and students are recognized. So we congratulate Barb Mass, who is one of our high school math teachers, for being the Citizen of the Year. Amy Gelman as Educator of the Year. She's a special education teacher at Jarretttown Elementary. Eric's pharmacy. I couldn't get the word out. Pharmacy. Because see, it doesn't say pharmacy. It says RX shop, and I couldn't get it out. Eric's Pharmacy is the business. I knew what it meant. And, you know, we're really thankful to him and his team for helping us with the vaccine clinics this year. And Willow Kaplan and Luke Price were the 2 students that are going to be nominated. And so in just a few weeks, we'll celebrate them at manufacturers. We've engaged with Be Part of the Conversation. Last week, we had a virtual presentation called Isolation, the New Drug of Choice. There was a adolescent therapist talking to parents and caregivers, giving them strategies to help their children overcome the isolation that they felt during the pandemic. And even now that we're emerging from the pandemic, the isolation that we feel, we're all connected to our cell phones. And so that presentation was recorded, and it will go out in our News from the Nest newsletter tomorrow. I think it was particularly well done. We had over 100 attendees at the event, and we're going to keep our connection to Be Part of the Conversation as we move through next year, and they'll be presenting on a number of topics. And as we think about next year, there will be opportunities for them to be here on site and for them to be virtual, so we'll have dual methods. We're still welcoming our class of 2035. So far, we have just under 200 students enrolled in kindergarten. Last week, Niche released their rankings, and I want to give the disclaimer that when we talk about rankings tell one piece or one portion of our story. Niche in particular focuses on what they call the whole student experience. So they look at not only student achievement and growth data, but they look at comments and reviews of the district made by parents, families, and students. So across the state, we were ranked 24th with an A+ rating from Niche, and we'll be putting some information in our newsletter. Every year, U.S. News and World Report also puts out a ranking. We don't believe there will be rankings this year because of not having state assessments in 2020. Tonight, the board is going to accept two generous donations, one from Giant and one from Acme. The donation from Giant is for just over $11,000. It is part of the Roundup program, that when folks are checking out, they could round up their bill to the next dollar. This is part of the Feeding School Kids initiative, and the money will be used by our food services department on behalf of our students. And we also have a donation from Acme for $1,000 from the Nourishing Neighbors program. I encourage everyone to stay tuned to our district calendar. It seems like every night between now and the end of the school year, there's something to do. So no one should be bored in Upper Dublin. If there's not a board meeting or a committee meeting, there's a concert or a program. We have the Greenfield Festival later this week, so there's no shortage of activities. PSSAs start tomorrow in the district, and as our student mentioned, APs start in just a few weeks, as do the Keystone exams. So there'll be information coming out from buildings about those items as well. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Dr. Yanni. At this time, we are up to public participation. This is an opportunity for community input. If anyone would like to comment, please approach the microphone at this time. Okay, seeing no one, no movement, we will continue on with our agenda. Mr. Leckman, are there any announcements or communications?
There are none this evening.
Okay, thank you. We do have minutes from the March 21st, 2022 legislative meeting. Is there a motion to approve those minutes? Okay, Dr. Levinowitz, is there a second? Okay, thank you, Mr. Sirota. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Okay, thank you. We also, as an information item, have committee minutes from March of 2022, the March 2nd Education Committee minutes, the March 2nd Policy Committee minutes, and the March 16th Finance Committee meeting minutes, and they are there for an information item for the public. Ms. Sherpier, the Education Committee curriculum recommendations.
Yeah, as usual, we have item 8A, enrollment report. That's just for information. And then we have items B and C, and I recommend that we approve as listed.
Is there a second to that motion?
A second.
Thank you, Ms. Ioniti. Are there any questions on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Are there any opposed? Thank you. And again, Ms. Sherpier, the Education Committee Student Services recommendations.
Right, and there are 4 items, 2 educational agreements, and a service agreement, and a pool council agreement, and all of those were discussed, and so I recommend that we approve them as listed.
Okay, thank you. Is there a second to that motion?
I second the motion.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Ioniti. Any questions on the motion? Okay, seeing none, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Are there any opposed? Okay, thank you. Mr. Sirota, the Finance Committee recommendations.
Thank you. We have 15 items on the Finance Committee list tonight. All were discussed in detail at last week's Finance Committee meeting, except for item F, which is our regular monthly payments item. I will move that we approve all 15.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion for all 15 items. Is there a second to that motion?
Second?
Okay, thank you, Ms. Sherpier. Are there any questions on the motion?
Just a brief comment. As Dr. Yanni indicated, I just want to acknowledge and thank Giant Supermarkets and all of the shoppers at Giant Supermarkets who contributed to that program, as well as Acme Markets and their shoppers as well.
Thank you for that comment. Any other comments or questions? Okay, then, all those in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Sirota. Okay, we're up to our personnel report. Dr. Levinowitz.
Yep, on the personnel tonight, item A, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the cafeteria, playground, aid, and pool employee compensation plan for 2022-2023 school year.
Okay, thank you for the motion. Is there a second to that motion?
I second the motion.
Thank you, Ms. Ioannidis. Are there any questions on the motion? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Dr. Davis, I'll be abstaining from this vote. My husband is a cafeteria playground aide, and for that reason, in order to avoid any potential conflict of interest, I'm abstaining.
Thank you, Ms. Evans. Okay, that motion passes.
Okay, item B.
And
And
item B.
Last item on the personnel tonight is the personnel report recommendations. I make a motion that we approve the complete report.
Okay, there's a motion to approve the complete personnel report. Is there a second to the motion?
I second.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Are there any opposed? Okay, thank you. Mrs. Ioannidis, the Policy Committee recommendations.
Yes, we can take 13A and B together. The second readings have been discussed at length, at much length. So we are pretty confident that's going to go through. And the first readings we'll discuss again at the next Policy Committee meeting. So I make a motion to pass these.
Okay, we have a motion for the second reading and B, the first reading. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Evans. Are there any questions on the motion? Okay, seeing none. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Thank you, that motion carries. And then in other business, Mr. Wallach.
Thank you, Dr. Davis. We have one item of other business this evening. It's a memorandum of understanding about summer work hours. By way of brief background, the memorandum is attached, but the district will be closed on Fridays during the summer, and we have a memorandum of understanding to address the summer work hour schedules for 12-month members of the bargaining unit identified in the memorandum. It's for the period June 20th, 22 through August the 14th, 2022. I make a motion to approve the MOU as attached to the agenda.
Okay, thank you. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Levinowitz. Are there any questions?
I just want to clarify with Dr. Yanni, did we had this MOU previously? So it's nothing new.
Right, it's the same MOU as last year, just different
Exactly.
dates.
Just want to make sure.
Thank you. Are there any other questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor of approving the summer work hours memorandum of understanding, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Are there any opposed? Okay, that motion carries. Attached, you do find the liaison committee reports. Again, this is an information item that's always attached to the agenda. And then, Mr. Diazio, do you have a solicitor's report?
Yes, thank you. Good evening. I do have the Sunshine Act announcements for this evening. The board has met in executive session twice since the last legislative meeting. The first meeting took place on April 6th, 2022. The subject matter of that executive session was administrative staffing, and the board also met this evening in executive session to discuss the items that were on the personnel agenda for approval this evening, as well as administrative salaries for next year and beyond. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Diazio. And now we're up to our second opportunity for community input. If anyone would like to make a comment, please approach the microphone at this time. We did receive one comment that Mr. Diazio will read for us.
Thank you. This comment comes from Jennifer Anderson of Ambler. The comment reads, "On Thursday night, more than 100 members of this community, administrators, teachers, guidance counselors, board members, families, students, and allies chalked all of the walks at all 6 of our schools with messages of love, inclusion, validation, acceptance, and celebration. The event was organized to support children who would be participating in the GLSEN Day of Silence on Friday, a student-led initiative to protest the harmful effects of harassment and discrimination of LGBTQIA+ students in schools. But we wanted to make sure that every student that arrived at school on Friday knew that they mattered, that they have a right to exist in their body just as it is, that their identity is respected and valued by this community, and most importantly, that they are loved just as they are. The LGBTQIA Equity and Excellence Subcommittee would like to thank all of our district faculty and staff who worked tirelessly to make Thursday's Chalk the Walks event a huge success. Some helped us to organize, some showed up to get their hands dirty by chalking the walks, some brought their own families to help, and some even faced harassment themselves. But they helped and showed up because they love what they do and they love this community. So special thanks to Ms. Lyons, Mr. Trolley, Nurse Denon, Ms. Costanza, Mr. Krantz, Ms. Adkins, Mr. McLaughlin, Ms. Babin, Ms. Bonk, Ms. Scherzer, Mr. Height, Ms. Pedroso, Dr. Hamer, Mr. Corcoran, Dr. Ortiz, Mr. Albert, Ms. Watson, Ms. Mehta, Ms. Irvin, Mr. Meyer, and any other staff that may have been unintentionally left off this list. Those same faculty and staff work day in and day out to support all of our students, but especially our LGBTQIA students who may need a little more encouragement and a few more safe spaces for them to be able to be comfortable and confident enough to be their authentic selves at school. The work done by these educators is hard and endless and requires a tireless commitment to our students. They should know that it has not gone unnoticed. With whole and grateful hearts, we thank them for showing up and putting in the time to ensure that our LGBTQIA children know they are not alone. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Diazio. And that concludes our second community input session. At this time, I just want to open it up to any comments from our superintendent or any board members. Ms. Ionetti.
I just wanted to mention the food truck event that we had last week. That was, it was really wonderful, and that was the African American Black Student and Family Committee that organized that, and it really brought the whole community together. I think they ran out of food.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, so just wanted to thank them.
Thank you. Any other comments? Okay, I would like to share information regarding the upcoming meetings. Our Education Committee will meet on Wednesday, May 4th at 6 p.m. That will be followed by the Policy Committee, which will begin at 7 or immediately following the Education Committee. We'll have our Finance Committee on Tuesday, May 10th at 6 p.m. And our final meeting in May will be the legislative meeting on Monday, May 16th at 7 p.m. Last chance for, oh, I see a hand, Ms. Ionetti.
I forgot, the Asian American Student and Family Committee is having an event on May 21st, and you'll see information from the principals, and it's also in our liaison reports tonight.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. You can tell she's the liaison to that committee. Thank you for sharing. Okay, last chance. Okay. It is 7:25. We want to thank everybody that is in the room and those that may be watching online. And at this time, at 7:25, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.